How to address the 7 indicators that women perceive you as weak. Did you know that women are able to recognize small signs of vulnerability on their own? In this video, we'll uncover 7 signs that make women view you as weak, and, more importantly, how you can correct them to become a more confident and desirable man once you constantly seek her validation. Psychology demonstrates that these unnoticed cues shape how they perceive you, frequently influencing their level of respect and attraction. Many men unknowingly exhibit these signs, thinking they are being considerate or accommodated in reality, when in fact they are eroding their own presence. One of the most attractive qualities a man can possess is confidence, but many men, unwittingly, undercut their own by continuously looking to the women they are interested in for approval. If every choice you make depends on her approval, whether it's what to wear, where to eat, or how to act, you are conveying the message that you lack confidence, while asking for advice is normal and excessive. If you're on a date and, rather than deciding what to eat, you ask her, "Do you think I should get the pasta or the steak?" It may seem like a harmless question, but relying on her ideas can make you appear unsure and uneasy. It can be a serious red flag to consistently defer to her for minor decisions. The key to breaking this habit is to trust yourself more and make decisions with confidence, even if they are small. Women respect men who know what they want and stand by their choices instead of constantly seeking approval. Women are naturally drawn to men who have a clear sense of self. If you constantly look to her for reassurance, she may start to feel like she's leading the relationship, which can gradually diminish her attraction to you. If she doesn't agree with your preferences, that's okay, but don't let it make you doubt yourself. 2. You avoid confrontation at all costs. While being polite and avoiding needless disputes can be a positive attribute. The more confident you project in your actions, the more respect and adoration you'll automatically demand. It is obvious that you are weak when you don't defend yourself when it counts. If you're the kind of guy who ignores problems, especially when they're being disrespected, it shows that you lack integrity. And that's not a pretty picture. You've spent 2 hours planning the ideal date, and instead of expressing your frustration, you laugh it off or act as though it doesn't bother you. While you may think you're being laid back, she may interpret it as a sign that you don't value yourself enough to demand respect. Women respect men who establish limits. She will have less regard for you if you tolerate abuse without confronting it. A woman who genuinely respects you will respond favorably to your confidence. Setting boundaries does not imply being combative or aggressive. Rather, it means calmly but firmly standing up for yourself when necessary. If she does something that bothers you, address it directly. Self-respect is the key to resolving this. If something feels off, don't keep it to yourself to avoid conflict. Instead, speak up when called upon and don't put up with persistent disrespect. Women prefer men who value themselves and expect the same from others. 3. You share your insecurities too soon. Being emotionally open is great, but there's a difference between that and becoming a burden. Women value honesty, but they don't want to be your personal therapist, especially in the beginning of a relationship. For example, on a second date, instead of getting to know each other naturally, you start sharing all of your fears and anxieties with her. You tell her that you've never felt good enough in previous relationships, that you struggle with public speaking, and that you've never felt good enough in previous relationships. She may listen politely, but deep down, she might begin to feel overwhelmed. If you continuously ask her for validation about your self-doubt, she can start to perceive you as someone who has emotional resilience rather than letting out all of your fears. Women love guys who acknowledge their difficulties but are actively attempting to overcome them. Lesson 3. When discussing difficulties, make sure to phrase them in a way that demonstrates how you're overcoming them, rather than dwelling on them in an attempt to resolve this. Instead, concentrate on expressing your goals and personal development. Consider carefully when and how you disclose your weaknesses. Strength and self-improvement are attractive when combined with emotional depth. There is a thin line between confidence and desperation, and many men unintentionally cross it when they try too hard to impress a woman. Whether it's continuously boasting about your accomplishments, making exaggerated stories, or overly emphasizing failings in your successes, this will make her admire your resilience rather than feeling like she needs to fix you. If you're on a date and you keep talking about how much money you make, how many people you know, or how fantastic your accomplishments are, she'll think you're overcompensating. Trying too hard can make you come across as insecure. Although women value achievement, a man who is confident enough in himself to not need to constantly promote himself is more attractive. The secret is authenticity. Let your confidence and deeds speak for themselves, rather than attempting to validate your value with words. Be yourself and have faith that people will see your worth on their own. You become emotionally unstable when you disagree. Although arguments are inevitable, she will perceive you as lacking self-control. If you lose your temper easily, become extremely defensive, or act out emotionally. Women want for emotional stability in males, and losing your temper over little matters is a sign of immaturity and instability. Instead of reacting rashly, practice emotional regulation by taking a deep breath, listening, and responding coolly. Women respect guys who can manage stress and settle disputes amicably rather than violently or emotionally.